All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get airborne with our weekly options brief and our full throttle session. This is the regular weekly options brief every Monday at noon. So all the free folks, so to speak, are joining us in what would be a regularly scheduled weekly options brief. Have a lot to talk about. A lot going on, obviously, in a 24-hour period. It seems like even in an hour period, a lot of crazy things can be happening. So we have a lot to cover, and we're probably going to go for about an hour today. Weekly options brief is usually 30 minutes. It's quick, it's tactical, 30 minutes, done, and we're out. I already emailed and sent a text alert out with the two trades that I'm looking at, adding two bearish positions on Brazil and GRUB. And we'll talk about those when we get tactical. Please make sure you watch the welcome aboard brief. If you could not attend last night, we got like another, well, all right, whatever. At this point, my techie, I said, hey, cap this thing at 2,000. And we have, here's how many people are registered now for these briefs. What's that say? 2357. 2,357 people registered for these. So anyway, go watch the replay from last night if you did not get a chance to attend. You must watch this because it talks about a trading methodology and all that stuff. Right there, there's a link in the chat box. Go to topgunoptions.com/FT replay. As I discussed last night, I'm going to leave all the rest of the replays on this page from the last full throttle. Whoa. I have myself yelling at me in my ear. So take a look at this. This is February 3rd. Warning, the markets are set to implode. Nailed it. Dead bat bounce. Get bearish on China and Apple. Nailed it. Get long volatility. Buy calls, VIX volatility calls, grab popcorn and your mask. A month and a half, a month before anybody said the word mask. Another bearish China trade. More bearish China, more bearish Brazil, more bearish S&P 500. Folks, just absolutely epic. Can you guys hear me? You guys can hear me, right? Okay. Other people, yeah. If I am still talking and you're not hearing anything and you still see me talking, probably 500 people would have told me I had an audio problem. So it's on your end. Go fix it. Again, this is why we limit the amount of full throttle people, man. I can't stand a zoo. Just not fun. Open a paper trading account. It's not free. I got that wrong yesterday. In the old days, you used to be able to open a free paper trading account. Now, I don't fault them, E-Trade. I think you have to fund an account at least with $1,000 because they're going to give you real-time quotes, and those things aren't free. So head to etrade.com/topgun to open that account, because on Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we're going to have one of their Jedi Masters come and give a demo of the platform. So you got to go open an account there if you're interested. Flight schedule for the week. Hey, check this out, man. Well done to these handful of people. There are not 50 slots left. We're supposed to be opening up the doors tomorrow. I love these people. You four are my new Gordon Geckos. So 4 people who apparently were in the last full throttle that didn't get one of the slots bought last night. So top notch to you guys. So now there aren't 50, there's 46 full throttle slots. However, there's about 5 or 6 people who somehow got a hold of an old link and got some full throttle slots, and our support's either going to be calling you or emailing you and either offering you a refund or you need to pay the full price. That's not what we're doing. So while I appreciate your enthusiasm, that old link is not the price, so we'll give you a refund. Or you can pay the difference. That's not how we're going to operate. As a matter of fact, this is way under price, by the way. So anyway, and you're locked in at the rate, but we're not even supposed to be talking about quote sales until tomorrow. But some enterprising people already got in there, and if you use your brain, you can figure out how to get them. But tomorrow formally is when we're going to open 46 new slots. And like I said, folks, if you use some link from like a year ago, that's not the price, period. That's not a charity here, folks. So we're going to give you your money back, or you can pay what the current rate is. Understood? Not going to do that to folks. So, okay. All right, I'm done with all that stuff. Let's get, we got to get right into it here. SOT, strategic, operational, tactical. Lost in all of this coronavirus stuff is the fact that, last week, one of the reasons the market leapt last week was on hope that Saudi Arabia and Russia would stop fighting and stop screwing the United States. Say that again, but more slowly. Do you think Vladimir Putin is going to bend over backwards to help the United States at this point with oil, or Saudi Arabia? Mohammed bin Salman. Trump jumped in bed with the dude even after he cut up a guy and boiled him in acid, and said, "Well, we gotta do business with bad bedfellows." And anyway, gets on the phone with him last week. Dude, you need to cut production. You're killing me over here in the United States. Click. Nice relationship, Donald. So last week's a little bit of a market rally right here, based on oil, is gone. Oil was a teenager last week, 19.7. I forget what the lowest point oil got to last week. For those of you that are new to Top Gun Options, do not listen to the president or any other idiot on TV, especially CNBC, when they say low oil prices and fantastic. I think he said it last night, like, look, gas, 99 cents. Who would have thunk it since 1950? When's the last time you got in your car to go fill it up? You're not even supposed to be leaving your home. Airliners are parked all over the country. They're actually putting chemicals in the fuel tanks so algae doesn't grow in them. They're not flying them for months, folks. Nobody cares about oil being at whatever, or gasoline being cheap right now. Nobody, Mr. President. If it's such a great deal that it's so cheap, why are you calling Russia and Saudi Arabia to try and get the price up? You know why? Because he shifted, even though he slipped it in there. He can't let things go sometimes. He can't let because a quarter of the thing he said last night about oil was right. He's like, we got to save these great companies. Why? I've been to Midland, folks. I've worked with the oil industry. When Midland, Nebraska, New Orleans, when all these oil states, and folks, when Occidental or Schlumberger or Apache lay off hundreds of thousands of workers, ain't nobody care about your $10 a week you're saving filling up your gas tank when you're not doing that. Literally, towns get wiped out. There was a great article in the Wall Street Journal last night about how Texas is getting destroyed. Texas had one of the best economies in the world, literally. They're getting hit with COVID, and they're getting hit with oil. I weep for Texas. It's getting decimated. Low oil is not good for America. I'm telling you, folks. Exxon. Hey, those two big super tankers we were having built? Yeah, you can cancel those. Send everybody in that shipyard home. We don't need those things. It is from all these roughnecks in Midland that just all got laid off. They make $100,000 a year. One of the only jobs in America where you can make six figures and be like a high school grad. And then guess what happens? The little gas station goes out of business, the restaurants, the bar, everything implodes, folks. So oil, folks, is bad right now. It's absolutely bad. Oklahoma, you're right. Absolutely didn't mean to leave them out. My point being, folks, is this in and of itself is a black swan event for this country. Oil being a teenager, contrary to what Donald Trump, who is clueless about this stuff, says. Guy's an expert in real estate. Got it. You guys know I'm the underachiever of my family. So if you don't know, my sister is a partner at Dune Capital. You see this little blank space right here? Like there was a name under here. Steve Mnuchin. So the Treasury Secretary of the United States and my sister were partners. He was when my sister got Woman of the Year one year of New York City. I met a lot of people at that dinner. Who was it? Corzine was there, former senator and governor. A lot of Goldman Sachs former CEOs. Steve Mnuchin. Again, I'm the underachiever. This is my brother. My brother is John Buckley. He's the CEO. He's the president and CEO of Wilbur Ellis. $3.5 billion company, about 5,000 employees, agriculture, chemicals, all sorts of stuff. So I got a lot of situational awareness here. And like I jokingly say, I'm the underachiever in my family, folks, but I got a lot of intel here. And oil being down here is devastating for the economy. Okay. Saudi Arabia, Russia don't care about Trump. As a matter of fact, Vladimir Putin's got to be sitting there going, I can't believe I paid 200 grand in Facebook ads and destroyed the United States. I mean, he's got to be beside himself. A year ago, January, not this last January, was it 2019? There was an admiral, a Chinese admiral at a conference in, I forget the country. And somebody asked, because the trade war was just heating up. This admiral was asked about, the trade war and this and that. And he kind of looked like the reporter. He's like, what are you, stupid? What are you talking about, trade war? We could give a shit about trade. This is about our strategic dominance and rise in the world and putting America into the dirt. We have missiles that can destroy these aircraft carriers and battle groups. And it was a stunning speech. So the whole trade, this is about China becoming the dominant superpower on this planet. We have a battle group out of commission due to this. They haven't fired a shot yet, and our economy's on its ass. We're in a recession. We most likely will enter a depression. Our military is hobbled. Didn't fire a shot. And oh, by the way, that 30-year bond Jim Cramer's talking about, what a great idea. We're gonna have a 30-year COVID bond, and everybody wants to buy. You know who's going to come in and buy that bond? China. Say it just like Trump. It came from China. Folks, China owns $1.3 trillion of our debt. Today, the fact that the Don hasn't gotten up at a press conference and gone, hey, Xi, good friend, good, you got a great backswing. I'll see you at Mar-a-Lago soon, someday. Anyway, that $1.3 trillion you own, it's gone. And I'm sending you an invoice for $1 trillion. Can you explain to me why the president hasn't done that yet? Still calls him his good friend. They would stab us in the back, ladies and gentlemen, the second we turn around. But they're helping Europe out. They're sending supplies. China floods Europe with defective COVID fighting medical equipment. You can't make this up, man. Well, Wiz, I hear China's on the downswing. They're not reporting any cases. If you believe that, choke yourself. If you believe anything that comes out of China, you're an idiot. Mainland China sees rise in new coronavirus cases. Does a country who shut down nationwide, a kabillion Chinamen, they shut down movie theaters across the nation last week. Does that sound like a country that's returning back to work? I have a buddy, Macquarie, Hong Kong. A lot of buddies in Asia, man. A lot of late night phone calls or early morning phone calls, depending on how you look at it. They're like, dude, of course they're reporting lower numbers. He said, I think it got taken down. I saw a video. You can't go into the hospital. They're like, you feel like shit, leave. You're not allowed to. It's pretty easy to make your numbers go down when you don't treat people. Okay? So any idiot on the face of the earth that believes China's numbers deserves everything bad that is going to happen to them. They're actually seeing numbers go up, which means it's a hell of a lot worse. So this will go to one of our trades that I'm looking at for today. This guy is out of control. He's simply nuts. He makes Donald Trump look sane. Bolsonaro down in Brazil. Go back to work. It's a little cold. Go back to work, wussies. I'm not kidding you, man. This guy is nuts. You ever been to Brazil? I've seen favelas. Never went in them. I probably wouldn't be talking to you. Driving between Sao Paulo and Santos, man, these are like 20-story shanties. I'm like, is there an elevator in that thing? This is going to devastate Brazil. The governor of Sao Paulo and Rio, both those guys were former Bolsonaro supporters, and they're all like, yeah, he's an idiot. We're locking down and blah, 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 blah. Brazil is in for a lot of trouble, man. It's very, 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 very bad. So, Yeah, exactly. The elites don't care about the favelas. They're already putting out the drug dealers and the gangs are running the favelas better than the cops. They're like, we have a curfew, we're social distancing, and they're calling it this is a disease of the rich, meaning, yeah, all the rich folks flew around the world jet setting and they brought it home and they're killing us. There is going to be class warfare. Remember, Brazil ain't the United States. They didn't just try and blast out $1 billion in stimulus or checks or this or that. Remember, some of these, things trade kind of like the S&P 500 until they become completely disconnected. I could not be more bearish on Brazil. We've made millionaires out of trading Brazil. It's in a lot of trouble. So we'll talk tactically after I get done my brief about the potential bearish trade I'm looking at. And on a day like today, when it's up, it is the time you want to get bearish on something. Okay. I have to remind you of this. This was the Wall Street Journal on March 24th. Okay. China's progress against coronavirus used draconian tactics not deployed in the West. Do you understand what they did in Wuhan? I have pictures. Holy shit, did you see that? Some participants can't gift. Oh my God, man. I thought, yeah, we had to limit it. No more attendees allowed. Well, if you weren't here 30 minutes early, you're late. So, all right, don't show this message again. Where's the little button here? Don't show this message again. Hold on, let me. Look at this. I'm getting this on my control panel here. Go to webinar. This thing keeps popping up. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Let me send this to support. We can't have this many people. Hold on. Wow. Well, let me turn those notifications off. All right. Don't show again. I clicked. Webinar has reached the maximum number of attendees. Well, folks, again, we work on Top Gun time here. If you're not early, you're late. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So we haven't done anything. Italy locked down the north. It locked down Lombardy. People haven't gone out in like 2 months, man. You're like, one, you need travel papers and you have to go, and it's insanity. We didn't do this. 2 weekends ago, I went for a run. If somebody was on my side of the street, I ran to the other side. I'm holding my breath, even on my bike, if I pass people. People were down here in Lake Boca Raton, 20 boats tied up to each other, partying their asses off, folks. You did that in China, they would have thrown you in a truck and you'd never be seen again. We did not take the measures we should have taken. We didn't look at anybody. We were ignorant. We'll talk about arrogant. It's the United States. It's not going to happen here. Okay, because what happened in China, South Korea, Japan, Italy, France, Spain can't happen here. How stupid. Surgeon General. So here you go. The market's at record highs right now for the day, up 1,200 points on the Dow. Surgeon General. This will be a horror. Remember, write this down and tattoo it on your forehead. The market is not the economy. Talking to my brother, I've never heard a more. The business people that I am talking to they're dumbfounded with their businesses and you can't even plan, folks. You can't even sit down with a whiteboard with your leadership team and go, when we start having earnings, PE, price to earnings ratio, there's no E. Airline, Delta's burning $50 million a day. Not like, hey, we're bringing in 10 million and no, they're burnt. There's zero profit in the airlines and they're just burning cash. Right? So what do? We bail them out? Where's your bailout? Yeah, Buffett dumped. Karen. Karen would know better than me. She's a former Delta heavy. Delta's up to $60 million a day. Unbelievable. Why am I doing this? Because I predicted what is going on. I called it a W. And look, based on last week's high, the trend. Okay. So at days like today, if you have some bearish positions on and you're going, holy crap, if you're going, holy crap, you have no idea what you're doing. I add every time, and here's a wizism, sell the rips. This is kind of a rip today. And don't buy the dips. Every person I talk to that's smarter than me absolutely says we have got to retest these lows to find some sort of sanity before we can do that. Or do that. So on days like today, man, it takes a little cojones to step in and go, no, my strategic mindset is bearish or volatile, right? If your strategic mindset that we briefed last night is bearish or volatile, then in step 4, we can pick our tactic, which for me today with 2 names is a bear call spread. Okay, so we'll talk about that when we get tactical. People are tripping all over each other right now to try and estimate when the lockdowns will be lifted, right? And I'm going to brief you tomorrow on my 5 signals that I'm going to use to buy. Any one of them comes, it's a buy. All of them come, it's sell the wife, kids, mortgage the house, and buy. I'm going to brief you on those tomorrow. Okay. But I mean, this is a way long article with a lot of booger eating math. Essentially, I'm going to tell you, the country should have shut down. We didn't. And it seems like whatever happened to March 31st, and we're going to decide that day. Then it was Easter. Now it's the end of April. We should have just said it's 4 months. And then when it wasn't, you look awesome, right? So Deutsche Bank, what's the UK? The US from April 1st. I said this, guys. I said June. It's June-ish, man. Absolutely. Okay. So I will talk, guys. Why are you asking questions about trades right now? Do not ask a question about a trade right now. We are in a brief where I brief strategically, then operationally, then tactically. Stop filling my chat box up with tactical questions about trades. You who are asking those questions are a very tactical trader, and you should not be doing what you're doing. Listen to the brief, and maybe I'll answer your question before we get there. Example B of why we're not going to have 1,000 people in full throttle. State shutdowns have taken at least a quarter, I think that's on the low side, a quarter of the economy offline. 8 in 10 U.S. counties are under lockdown orders, according to a study, and they represent 96% of national input. I've never heard anything like this, guys. I can't, and we're going to talk about this in a couple minutes, but we have, I've never seen anything like that. Seeing something like that, we might be in a depression right now. The old definition of a recession is when your neighbor loses their job, and a depression is when you lose your job. I've never seen this. And looking at the numbers of this, like I told you, states that are already bankrupt, like the shitholes of California, New Jersey, I'm from Jersey, and Chicago, Illinois. What do you think is happening to their state revenue coffers right now? Ain't nobody out eating, drinking, partying. Nobody's paying all those taxes, guys. What are states going to do? Whatever. You got intel all over the place here. The states are going to go bankrupt. Not only is our country bankrupt, our states are bankrupt. Again, another reason we have to MAWA, make America work again. It's too late. You guys didn't listen to Paul Revere 2 months ago, so now we're going to have to eat it, and more people are going to have to die. It's awful. How about this? This was fantastic. Adidas. So I briefed you that 3 weeks ago, Cheesecake Factory, they didn't even wait for April 1st. Like 3 weeks ago, Cheesecake said, yeah, all landlords in America, we're not paying our rent. F you. Nice. So you find out who was swimming naked when the tide goes out. So Cheesecake didn't have enough money to like cover a month's rent. I will never eat at that place again. What am I getting at? Adidas got socially shamed. Adidas went, what? We're not paying our rent anywhere. Screw everybody. Whoa. They got socially shamed. Adidas has reversed its decision to suspend rent payments on stores closed by the lockdown, but warned that it could not bear the standstill for too long. In a contrite open letter that will be published on Thursday, the world's second largest sportswear maker said it had made April rent payments to its landlords after all. That was a mistake, blah, blah, blah. We profusely apologize. Why? Because people in these countries went, are you kidding me? But folks, this is a Band-Aid. Adidas put a Band-Aid on a second chest wound. I talked to a lot of smart people, folks, and did you see the guy? What was his name? The CEO of not Simon Property. So the CEO of some huge. Again, I have a pretty good oracle in the real estate space. My sister worked with Donald Trump on a couple deals. This is the next shoe to drop. We already briefed us on this. These mortgage companies, the middle, let's just tack this money on the end of their loan. First of all, you can't even get through to your mortgage company. Second of all, a lot of guys I've talked to are like, no, we're not doing that. It's like, well, the government said you can do that. They're like, yeah, we can. We're choosing not to do that. You owe your mortgage. This will be the other shoe to drop, folks. I'm giving you why. This is the intel brief around my strategic mindset. Potential wave of mortgage delinquencies could bankrupt the payment system. That's an old article, Wiz. Yeah, that's March 23rd. What happened on April 1st? A lot of people didn't pay. I hate bringing up the SR words, right? This or SU, social unrest. Starting to see this. They want their monies out. Baltimore residents storm bank amid fears of social unrest. Just Baltimore, right? Just Baltimore. People are, you got to keep an eye on these things, guys. You get a run on the bank, and my sister handles leasing for Cheesecake Factory in Canada, says that Cake is using this opportunity to renegotiate existing leases and get it. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. Is this the guy on he runs a property group or whatever it was, and he's like, I got law firms in New York City that charge $1,000 an hour that didn't pay their rent. They're taking advantage. Oh, I'm shocked that attorneys would do something like that, but they're and he's like, this is not the time to be pulling this shit. This guy was not happy. I forget. Did anybody see that? I posted in our Afterburner thread. Somebody remind me what that guy's name is. Somebody scroll up in here and find out what that name is. It wasn't the CEO of Simon Property Group. Who was it? Whatever. All right, I gotta move. I'm sticking with this, guys. The worst of the global sell-off isn't here yet. Banks and investors warn. Wall Street is only now coming to grips with this, folks. The last time we had one of these little pops was the other week. This was window dressing and end of quarter rebalancing. This is stupid. This is, we got some hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Folks, remember, even on the peak day, somebody said it was supposed to be Easter. I'm like, please don't make 2,700 Americans die on Easter. We will never. That will be horrific. So on the worst day of this crisis, when we peak, we might lose as many people as we did in the blink of an eye on 9/11. Right? So that's why we're up today? Of course not. Related. Oh, thanks, Cal. Jeff Blau, right? Related. Yeah, exactly. Related company or related property groups. He was excoriating people. He laid into some law firms, man. He's like, yeah, so these guys charge $1,000 an hour, and now they're not going to pay their rent for April. And he laid down what I've laid down, folks. It's a chain effect. Can somebody see if they have a clip of that? Because I want to put it out to people. You have to watch this. He's like, you guys don't understand. This isn't some black and white 1920s silent film where, you must pay the rent. I can't pay the rent. The guy with the black hat and the mustache and the poor damsel who, I can't pay the rent. Well, you must. The landlords, so I got buddies who that's all they do. They do the maintenance. They own like 4 rental properties, and that's their income. So when he gets screwed, and now the mortgage he has to pay, it's everything collapses, folks. That's the next shoe to drop. Related companies. Got it. Somebody find the clip. It was from CNBC. You have to watch his interview. I believe we are here. My spirit animal is Jeffrey Gundlach. He and I have nailed a lot of stuff together, from the implosion of Facebook to the election of Trump to the market rally to this. This is where we are right now, folks. People are trying to say that, well, we're kind of back to normal here. That could not be farther from the case. We are going to see fear, capitulation, and actually despair. You are here, okay? You're not here with the market going up. So I strongly recommend you take a screenshot of this and kind of digest it. It's pretty good. That's exact. This look exactly as it should be. Okay. All right. Mohamed Al-Arian. This guy's another really, really smart character. He was on CNBC this morning. Mohamed Al-Arian, the stock market could still go back to the coronavirus lows. Jeffrey Gundlach, Steve Cohen from SAC Capital should be in jail. Wrote a $1 billion check for insider trading. Didn't go to jail. His lieutenants went to jail. But anyway, Cohen, Al-Arian, Gundlach. If these massive big money managers are saying we think we have to retest those March lows, they of course could be lying. They could be doing the Bill Ackman right now. I doubt it. So when you got these guys saying, no, we're going to go back down to the March lows, do you think they're buying today? The answer is no. Okay, this is trading. Like I said, step 1 last night in learning how to trade options during this volatile time is to just do that. Learn how to trade options and not do a damn thing. I'm going to remind you until I'm blue in the face, the easiest money in the world was made. This is blue collar. X time. This will be the second. Actually, that'll probably be even easier, more money to make. So I've warned people for the past couple weeks, since you didn't listen to me for that implosion, you have to use this time to get into the manuals, to get into the 8 full throttle briefs, and then you will be ready for liftoff. Because I guarantee you, if you're new to Top Gun options, you do not have the stomach for this. I got filled on those 2 bearish trades today. They're red. I could care less. It's Monday. They expire Friday. We could all be dead, and I'm not being facetious, by Friday. So if you don't have, because this is the weekly options brief. In the old days, this was the only service we did weekly options in, because very, very tactical trading. So I'm warning you, easy money done, tactical, and then we will have liftoff. Cannot be any more clear on this. Use this time to learn and get smart. SMRT. So Scott Gottlieb, this guy's been a voice of reason. He's outside. He was Trump's FDA commissioner. He's not Fauci, who half the country hates and thinks he's deep state, and the other country, half of the country thinks he's awesome. We should listen to him. I'm kind of in the middle. But Dr. Gottlieb, he's been on CNBC a ton. He's a smart guy, and he talks about Gilead today in the op-ed section of the Wall Street Journal. Got this open letter from one of the folks on the Afterburner thread. From Daniel Day, the chairman and CEO of Gilead Sciences. We have a lot. We have Pfizer, Gilead, Moderna, and Regeneron calls. I got chips spread out around all the biotech names. One of these guys, markets closed Friday. My God, we forgot about that. What if Palm Sunday, and oh man, it's brutal. It's very sad. You're right. Thursday. Anyway. I like Gilead here. Let's take, we'll get tactical in a second, but this is a great open letter from the CEO of, I can't say it 10 times fast, Remdesivir. Ooh, I got it. Remdesivir. Say that 10 times fast. So like Gilead, last week we crushed it with GRUB and Uber and Lyft. For the folks that the Afterburner thread, what did we do? We made like 15 grand in 3 hours. This was absolutely awesome. So this ain't rocket surgery. Well, how did you do that, Wiz? Well, first of all, you have got to subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. If you can't afford the whatever it is, $50, you shouldn't be trading options. This is the paper of record for, you ready? Wall Street. When I got on the train every day in Naperville to go drive into the Board of Trade, I got on that train and everybody's face was in the Wall Street Journal, period. I get alerts on this Wall Street Journal. I get it, and an hour later I see it like in the mainstream media. You have got to subscribe to this. Why? You ready for this? This was April 1st at 10:38 in the morning. Can you guys hear me? Nope. Can you guys hear? I was going to switch over to my mobile phone. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Can you guys, hello? Nope. I am not online. No internet. Disconnect. I'll try it again. What is it, Buckley or Buckley Home? Capital B or anything? Buckley Home, no internet. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I'm having to go through my phone here. The internet is actually fine. I think just the people trying to get in here are crashing this thing. So I gotta get going. We gotta and limit the amount of people here. You're seeing live why we gotta limit this stuff. Okay, another risk to even thinking about being bullish right now is, guess what? Who was the number one buyer of the S&P 500 for the past couple of years? It was the S&P 500 with stock buybacks. Do you know who's buying back their stocks right now? Nobody. So another reason we had this massive rally in stocks here was people were buying their own shares, and now they're not. It's just it's bad. Okay, so what are we doing here? Oh, last week, great trades. We looked at, so before we get into new trades, I always debrief what we did the week before and how they turned out, and if there's any new trades on or trades that are still on, we debrief how they are looking. So last week, man, we got out of some fantastic trades on the S&P 500, Mountain, which is Vail Mountain Resorts, and then added a bear call spread on Brazil, EWZ, the 25-26 bear call spread. It's That sounds familiar. We did that one today. So the 25-26 bear call spread, this one expired on Friday for a max profit of $5,000. So there was $5,000 yesterday in between Monday and Friday. What else did we want to cover? You know what? Let me look at Mountain. MTN. They're renegotiating their lease with the U.S. Forestry Service. They laid off just about everybody in their company. I mean, this is obviously the ski area. Are the ski areas getting a federal bailout? Of course they aren't, right? If we're not bailing out cruise ships, why aren't we bailing? Or if we bail out cruise ships, which aren't even flagged in the United States, why aren't we bailing out Vail Mountain Resorts or Aspen or any of these guys? So we might actually look at, I mean, this is a big pop, 10% on what? They're opening the ski areas tomorrow? No. So this is all trading, folks. Okay. So let's take a look at EWZ. And this chart just picture's worth 1,000 words. EWZ is the iShares Brazil ETF. I've been trading this for 10 years, from the Olympics to what else was down there? World Cup to what's her name? Lula getting impeached, to the JBS meat scandal. I know a ton of stuff that's going on down there. And implosion, bounce, implosion, bounce, implosion, bounce, implosion, big bounce, and then level. I think we kind of hang out sideways for a while here, and then another massive leg down. Remember, and this kind of, let me compare the EWZ with the performance of the S&P 500. So it kind of looks like it, but not. So the S&P 500 is up here in green, and EWZ is down here. So we kind of been flying formation with each other, but we're going to disconnect. Okay, I have some puts. I don't think they're in this one. I have EWJ puts. That's Japan, Gilead calls, and Moderna calls. We'll talk about the Gilead Moderna here in a second. So the trade we looked at today is, well, let me just rebuild it live here. Where's my strikes? EWZ, the 24, I think I misspoke. It's, nope, I did the 25-26, okay, out to Friday. Looking to, let me step through this. I'll just rebuild it live here. Okay, so let's go through our trade plan. You should have your one pager out, sitting right here. Strategic mindset, unless you've been sleeping for the past 43 minutes, could not be more bearish / volatile. I'll go bearish to volatile. That's my strategic mindset. Step 2 is the target. I've identified my target, EWZ, the iShares Brazilian ETF. Step 3, commit criteria. My commit criteria are Bolsonaro is retarded. The man is going to get thousands of Brazilians sick. There will be potential unrest, and based on my contacts down south, one of which is very close to the chief of staff of the Brazilian Air Force, they are considering, if it gets worse, martial law. I mean, hell, we were throwing around the martial law words here in America, but Trump blinked. He should have locked down New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. And what did he do? Fredo's brother, Como, said, this was a governor talking to the United States president. It would be an act of war. I'll see you in court. So that piece of shit, Como, was going to sue for the right of New Yorkers to leave that state and infect other people and kill them. That's where we are in America. I use the analogy on my my brief today about Crimson Tide. You ever see that movie with Denzel Washington? Right? The one compartment's flooding. The guys are yelling, and Denzel's he's the skipper now, right? He locked Gene Hackman in his room. And he's like, close the hatch. He's like, oh, the guy's yelling on the thing. He's like, no, sir, there's 3 guys still left in there. He's like, close the hatch. He's like, no, we got to get our men out. He's like, Lieutenant, whatever, that's a direct order. Close the hatch. And finally they close it. And guess what? 3 guys died. It was either close the hatch and those guys go, or everybody on the sub drowns and dies. The president failed. We needed to close the hatch. But what do I know? So, all right. Wow, that was a lot of rambling commit criteria. So let's do this. Here we go. So 20, what did I say? 20. Hold on. Let me get, whoa, stop. Clear drawings. So step, I just gave you my commit criteria. Boom. 3, that was rambling, but that was at least 3 to 5 sentences as to why I am in this trade. Can you guys hear me? Hey, Susie. Susie, did you check your email? I need you to go. You need to be working here. Because some people got that 997 annual link. Some people doing the 497. You need to call all those people or email them and either refund them or they need to pay. I don't know. I've asked you guys to take care of this stuff. I'm busy. You guys need to get on it.
Tim put all the links like you said, right? I thought we were only doing those 2.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. All right. We got to go, guys. Let's knock these trades out, and then I don't know what's going on here. This doesn't happen to me that often. All right. So I'm looking at the the recent high in this dead bat bounce was up here at 25, 26-ish. Okay. We could do, let me actually look at 2 potential trades. Okay. I'm telling you, the bandwidth is overloaded. I click don't show me again, or maybe every time I reconnect, I keep getting the message. There's 1,000 people in here. You can't get in any more people. I don't want any more people in here. So I'm looking at selling. Well, the more conservative trade would be this. So again, here's what I'm going to tell you when you become a Top Gun Options member. If you're sitting here going, hey, what's a bear call spread and how do I do this? I'm not going to answer that question. What am I going to do? I'm going to tell you to go, it's a great question. You clearly didn't watch the full throttle training session number 5, or no, 4, bearish spread. So I'm going to rip through this trade right now. And if you have any questions about that, you need to go watch the bearish spread video. It's an hour and a half long, glass of wine, hanging out at 7 o'clock at night. We're all shooting the shit. It's calm, whatever. That's what you need to do. When you become a member, you bury your face in these full throttle training videos. How many times do you watch that bearish spread video? 10. Anyway, so I'm going to rip through this because I don't know. We got way too many people in here. I'm going to look to sell. Let me start with 150 contracts. Why 150 contracts? Give me 2 minutes. I'm looking to sell for Friday, technically Thursday's expiration, the 25 calls. That's me saying, hey, EWZ, nice 10% pop today. I don't think you're going to sustain that, or you're actually going to go down by Friday. Great. That's what my mindset is when I sell these 25 calls. Wiz, what if you're wrong, man? Bolsonaro announces he's Jesus and can cure it. Well, I'm going to, great, good for everybody, and yay, life and everything like that. So if this thing rips higher between now and Friday, I'm going to buy these upside calls as kind of a hedge. Okay, I'm going to buy the upside 26 calls. So I'm neutral to bearish on Brazil until Friday. I'm using calls, and this is a spread. This is a basic tactic called a bear call spread. It's also called what? A credit spread. I'm getting paid to do this. Now you'll learn in your full throttle training why I like doing credit spreads and not debit spreads. I can't even stand the word debit, like debit card. We're going to debit your account. Debit. I hate debit spreads. We'll talk about in a couple seconds when we analyze this trade. I'd rather be the house, right? The Ferrari dealer down here in South Florida doesn't look like the Ferrari dealer because it's a charity and gives away money. It takes in money. So we're getting paid $2,900 to do this trade between now and Friday. Okay, so I'm going to teach you whenever I click, and I think I'm going to do 300 contracts, but whenever you're going to learn here in Top Gun Options, whenever I click this snapshot analysis tool, the first place your eyes go for the rest of your life in trading will be max potential loss. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Max potential loss. That's a little north of what I wanted to do. You know what? I'm going to do. This is, I think earlier I did say, well, there's no 24 strike. Yeah, I'd probably do less contract. Well, 42. Nah, this is good. I'm going to do maybe 175 contracts. I'm mumbling here, but I'll pick you up in a second. Perfect. All right. So again, take 2. I'm going to click on Analyze, and the only place you're going to look is max potential loss. What is my max potential loss in this trade? Right there. Look at the sad face, $10,100. Now, if you're sitting there going, holy crap, well, listen, that's based on 175 contracts. I can't tell you what to do based on this $100,000 model portfolio. In wartime trading, I do 10%. I don't want to risk more than 10% of my portfolio on any one trade. You are going to learn here at Top Gun Options to come up with your own SOP, standard operating procedure. Do you want to risk $5,000? What's that, 65 contracts or whatever? You want to risk 20 grand? You do 300. I can't tell you what to do. You're getting to eavesdrop and look over my shoulder. This $10,000 in risk is based on 175 contracts. Let's take a look at, I don't know, 50 and 50. Analyze. Risking $2,900 to potentially make $2,000 between now and Friday. Okay, that's what you have to do. You have to come up with your own SOP. Me, based on the performance, how are we doing year to date in here? $2,600, over $250,000. Year to date account gain, $384,000. So now I can go up in this portfolio. This portfolio started at the beginning of the year at 100 grand. So, but you have got to treat this like you're a pilot. You have to put a check mark right here. Don't ever look at max potential profit first, ever. Why? Don't sit here and go, whiz, I could make 7 grand this week. Yeah, you could lose 10. Whoa, hey, exactly. If that's, and I'm not saying acceptable to you, meaning, sure, I'd be thrilled if between now and Friday I lost it. No, my point being is you acknowledge your risk. You put a check mark right there that says, I acknowledge that, right? In your trade plan. Should all be written down. What's my max potential loss? Is that, if it's too much, don't do that many contracts. Or if you just don't do it at all. Okay. Now let's talk through a couple of things. Let's talk, since this is the brief, let's talk about the good. When would I get out of this trade? Now, technically, we want on Friday, we want EWZ at $23.99 or below. If that's the case, this makes max profit. However, I don't like letting my trades expire worthless. This is what I brought up last night. What if Thursday morning, we are up, $6 grand in this trade. We're up 80% we've made 80% of this credit, and we're sitting there with a nice $6 grand. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to go for a run and, go socially distance from people outside. This trade's going to expire for max profit. And then 5 minutes before the market closed, Bolsonaro announces that somebody in Brazil has a vaccine, and it rips higher. And you turn a 80% winning trade into a 100% loser. You deserve to lose every penny. My SOP says 7, 8, 9. If I'm looking at a 70, 80, or 90% profit on the credit that I took in, close it. Pigs get slaughtered. Let me say it again slowly. If you're looking at a 70, 80, 90% profit on that credit, get out of the damn trade. Okay? People are like, do you send alerts on when to close trades? Nope. Why? I just told you when I'd be closing this trade. Excuse me. Now let's talk about the bad. Should have talked about the bad first. What's the bad? Right now, turn off webcams. I'm doing that. Yeah, our network's slow. Sorry. You lost me visually. I hope you, and there goes the audio. Can you guys hear me? All right, so the credit that we're taking in is 43 cents. Okay, technically, what do we want? We want all 43 of these cents in our pocket by Friday, but like I just said, you don't. Pigs get slaughtered. So that is if EWZ is going down. If EWZ is going up for some reason, that's bad for us, right? And this credit will start going up, which is also bad. So when would I consider potentially ejecting out of the trade? For the 90th time, I said the market's closed on Friday and this expires Thursday. Please do not type that again in the chat box. 42. I simply double the credit that I take in. 84 cents is when I would potentially eject from this trade so I don't take the max loss. How'd you come up with that? I'm a pilot. I deal in complex things. How do we battle complexity? With simplicity. It's a good rule of thumb. For a credit spread, double the credit that I take in. 42, it's 84. If this goes up to about 84 cents, I go back and I told you last night, I go look at my commit criteria and I say, are those things still valid? Is the commit criteria still valid? If I give myself a vertical head nod, I stay in the trade. If one of those sentences that I rambled through 10 minutes ago has changed, eject. So in this brief with this trade, I've told you where to enter, when to potentially take profit, and when to potentially eject. That's the purpose of a brief, right? I also talk about trying to get a fill. So this you'll learn in full throttle training is, hey man, I want to sell my house for this much. This is somebody on the street going, yeah, I'll give you not even close to that. This is mid-market. You try and want to get filled at mid-market on a trade, but in this type of volatile markets where things are swinging around and all over the place, you might have to come, in this case of a credit spread, closer to the bid. Okay, so let's talk through. And I don't have time to go into GRUB, folks, because I have solo Amazon. It's not part of Full Throttle this week, but I have a different member presentation at 2 o'clock. I got to get ready for. It's called Solo Amazon. Maybe we can talk about that some other time. But same thing with GRUB. So we talked last week. Oh, this is what I was talking about with the Wall Street Journal. This was epic, man. So GrubHub, wherever that went, the Wall Street Journal more or less said, hey, there it is. So last week, I didn't know about this space, but like GRUB and Uber Eats or whatever, they charge 30% to the restaurant. What? So guess what this article said? This was, let me talk you through how I work here. April 1st, 10:38 at night. I sent this out to my afterburner folks on my private thread, and I said, at the open tomorrow, I'm going to pound GRUB into the dirt. Why? God, look at this. These restaurant owners are like, this guy over here, he's like, I'm done. I'll deliver. I'll hop in my car and deliver our food. They're turning waiters and waitresses into their own Uber Eats or GRUB. And these GRUB spokesman's like, well, things are fluid right now. We're adjusting program, meaning they're going to get pounded out of business. Somebody explained to me why, if you owned a restaurant, you'd use GRUB. When things were fantastic, yeah, okay, I'll give a little bit of overhead to them. Now people are eating their own foot. And you think GRUB. So here's what happened last week. This was fantastic. So we got bearish. The Afterburner folks, we got bearish. We talked about it in the live trade brief. Here's what happened last week. Where is it? Let's go with the 5-day. Let me close this real quick. 10-day. You have to see this, man. This was classic. There it is right there. You know what happened right here? So we got filled April 1st. We put on a bear call spread, and at what was it, 11:50? Did everybody see this? Jim Chanos is a legendary short seller. He got on CNBC, and with Scott Wapner, he's like, oh my God, I'm going to pound GRUB and all these guys into the dirt. The thing went down 15% in the blink of an eye. We sat here, we were typing on our thing like, oh my God, $15,000 with a bear call spread and bought some Grubhub puts. I'm getting back into that because it's not like anything has changed. If anything, things are getting worse. Small business owners are starting to find out. Here's the deal, folks. And I talked with some panicked people over the weekend. If you're a small business owner in this country, many of you try and finish the year with how much in revenue? I'll answer the question for you. The Mortimer bet from Trading Places, $1. So guess what? If you didn't pay, like Warren Buffett, my secretary pays more in taxes than I do. Your secretary doesn't fly on a G5, isn't all business dinners and lunch. It's stupid. So some restaurant owners are finding out that they ain't gonna get anything. It's bad. Sao Paulo Governor Doria extends quarantine for 15 days to April 22nd. Says police authorized to break up public gatherings. Yeah, James, it's bad down there. So anyway, that's because I got to run. We already went over by 2 minutes. I like to stay on time. I got to go get ready for our solo Amazon live brief at 2:00. But this is a drive-by. I hate doing this, but this is a drive-by commit criteria for why I'd be pounding GRUB into the dirt, and I'd be buying puts on it. Okay, and we'll have more time tomorrow at 10 a.m. to talk through this. I would absolutely be. We talked last night about what buying puts means. I think this is easily back down here at $30 easily soon. I mean, just look at that chart: implosion, dead bat bounce, implosion, dead bat bounce, implosion, bounce. It's going to have another implosion. So we'll talk tomorrow about buying some puts on this. Now I'd go further out in time, guys. Don't go short-term tactical with this. Remember, I gave you my short-term strategic mindset. I could not be more bearish. I think we are going to retest these March lows out here sometime. Okay, I'd go out. You can always go out on puts. I'd go out maybe a month on Grubhub puts, because in the next month, folks, first of all, the president's saying, end of April is maybe when we can open up again. So between now and the end of April, and they're going to have when's earnings? Yeah, April 23rd estimated is when their earnings are going to be. How can you expect the CFO or CEO of GRUB to hop on an earnings call and be like, things are super fun, fantastic time, and we're really looking forward to next quarter? They're going to, if I were a reporter on the earnings call for GRUB, I'd be like, can you address the Wall Street Journal article where, folks, even if they stay in business, they ain't getting 30% from restaurants right now. Read this article. I don't know if it's a public article, and if it isn't, you need to read it on your own and get access. Read this article because it's shocking to me. It was funny. I was laying in bed when I read this, and I sent this right out to the Afterburner folks. I'm like, tomorrow we're going to pound GRUB into the dirt. More or less paid for their Afterburner membership with one trade on GRUB. Oops, I sent that to them. Let me send it to you guys. They already read that. They read it the night before. We had a blast. I think didn't we do Lyft too? We pounded Lyft into the dirt. All right, so here we go. All right, guys, I got to go. My apologies for this. I don't know if it's our bandwidth, but I keep getting this. There's more than 1,000 people trying to get into this room thing, which is just I've never seen this before. Lucas, I'm seeing that too. That's going to be one of our bullish stocks I'm going to talk about tomorrow. Is CME Group. I'm hearing problems with trading and filling and equity. This is, again, on a day when the market's up 1,200 points, listen to somebody preach doom and gloom. That's exactly what you need to do. You need to be out of cycle with the market. You need to be thinking ahead. Today is not the day for you to be doing anything bullish, period. And if anything, I showed you on EWZ and GRUB, I'd be selling into it. So my apologies about the connections and all sorts of stuff like this. I got to figure out, I don't know. I mean, I don't like unregister 1,000 people. If you're not showing up early to these briefs, folks, you're late. Like I said, welcome aboard to the 4 people who figured out how to get a slot early, and the other folks that used an old link to grab a membership, we're going to refund, or you have to. Oh, okay. Oh, never mind. They were rebills. So anyway, yeah. Well, you can figure it out, folks. It ain't rocket surgery how to get a slot right here. Jan, bear call spread on GRUB. I already sent that out. Already covered that. Yes, I did do a bear call spread on GRUB. I sent that out via text and email. Here's the replay page where this replay is going to be. Right here. Yeah, Ed, I might look into Zoom. We've never had to deal with this issue. I just don't. We limit. Yeah, exactly. Well, we might be having internet issues because everybody's doing homework at home. Here's the GRUB trade, folks. If you didn't get it, that's it right there. All right. Again, we're limiting the size when we open the slots tomorrow, folks, because we can't have it like this. It gives me agita. I don't want the quality of our training to go down because we got the masses coming in here. Okay, there's the GRUB trade. Let me show you the analytics of it real quick. Right there. Risking 98 to make 5. That's based again on 150 contracts. You have to come up with your own SOP. Don't want to risk that. Don't trade 150 contracts. It ain't rocket surgery. Okay. So, all right, a couple more. Let me see if there's anything else. Remember, take a screenshot. There's a little camera up the top. You can take a screenshot. Yeah, Kathy, I know the Zoom is having internet and bombing issues too. If everybody in the United States of America is using Zoom, they're going to be slowed down. So, oh, Zoom has a limit of 100. Well, whatever. Not that important. All right, I'll see many of you over in the solo Amazon room at 2:00. I already sent out a text and email with that bear call spread. So for my solo Amazon members, I think it was XLY, right? XLY bear call spread. Well, maybe we'll talk about it Wednesday or something like that, folks. Solo Amazon is a separate service. Yeah, XLY. Sent the XLY trade out, but it's not part of Full Throttle. It's a separate service. So, all right, guys, have a great rest of your day. I'll get the replay posted when I can on the replay page. If you didn't attend last night and watch the Welcome Aboard brief, it is right there. You have got to watch the Welcome Aboard brief. Okay. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. God bless. And I'll see many of you in solo Amazon in a little bit or tomorrow morning. The next Full Throttle brief is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for the primary live trade brief. I actually will be talking about where I think I'm going to be buying stuff with both hands and actually some of the names. Okay. All right, guys, God bless. And I'll see you later.